Hey, it's Don, the auction professor. It's time for our live show today. I've got some information here first that we're going to go over for the view. Big issue here from what I see. eBay is laying off again. I honestly wouldn't worry again. They're not essential people. They're people from the corporate office. It's just like dead weight to us. And then I've heard people commenting on eBay Open. They're cutting back and they're doing a cheaper event. Personally, I would never do an event like that in the first place. I just wouldn't spend the money unless I'm making money out of it. It's just basically them throwing money out when they do stuff like that, at least in my opinion. As a regional and stuff, we had, regional meetings. We'd have a get together for a couple weekends and stuff. I always hated those, truthfully, but I don't go to eBay Open just because I'm not making money. I'm not going to spend money just to enjoy myself like that. I can do it here as well too. So don't panic. Don't worry about the eBay issues with them laying off a few hundred people. You're talking about pennies. It's restructuring. They're competing with Amazon. So I don't want to go into that and beat a dead horse. I've talked about it before. A lot of people, Groove Master resellers, how you doing? A lot of people jump on the bandwagon and just attack eBay, just like Amazon when their Prime Day and a crash and things like that happened. I heard, left and right people attacking them on Reddit and, all the forums, even some videos of people attacking Amazon for some of the issues. Every site has those issues. If you haven't done Amazon before or haven't done Amazon very long, Amazon has issues just as much, even in the analyticals on, projections and things like that in Amazon after you've sold. Even some of that doesn't even show up correctly. I have issues where I've sold items on Amazon and I can't even go and look at the listing because the link is gone. It just doesn't show up. I've had to call them before too. So anyway, still working on postcard video. I have got that done already. I've got another video coming out tomorrow on stereo views. Now, I've had questions on stereo views. People have posted some photos of stereo views. I've got a real surefire way you can tell. It's going to be a real easy bolo for you tomorrow. It's already done. As I said, I did it just in case I couldn't go live. So I will always have a backup for live feed. So if you're getting a time, you're going to be here at 7 and for some reason live is down, I will always have another video ready to go with just a click of a button. It'll be up tomorrow afternoon ready. So as I said, I'll just a click of a button, but it'll just be on stereo views and things like that and how to easily tell, the quick, easy way to tell what's worth money on those. There's a real simple way and I'll show you that tomorrow. I'm going to show you my resin kit today. I've actually got some design patents and copyrights going in on that as we speak. I've showed it around to a couple people in person, and I got phenomenal feedback on it. I'm actually going to try and do a Kickstarter on it. I've already started some video dialogue for it, so I'll just show it to you real quick here so you can kind of see. This is the finished version of it. Let's see so you can see it a little better. This is the resin kit that I've been working on. This was done from scratch. It's in several pieces here, so it can be put together and boxed up. But what you see, it's all done all the way around. It literally looks, it's a trilobite. It's made out of resin that we casted here. I'm actually going to do a video on that in just a couple days still. It's got brass highlights, and then the actual base is painted. It's wood. This is resin as well. Some faux plants that have been actually painted as well too. I haven't got a price on it yet. We've still been going back and forth because I want to get some paperwork in on this too. And we're going to be showing it around probably. And as I said, I'm going to do a Kickstarter on it. I mean, that's from this. I showed this in another video. You can see the finished example, as I said. But this is going to be our new, I guess, toy, whatever you'd want to call it at this point. And we're going to make a ton of these. I've got like 50 ready to run. And the one that I just showed you here, this is going to be the giveaway. So on Halloween, I am going to do a treat, and that'll be the winner of this. I'm going to have an elaborate contest. I'm not going to make this one easy. This is my template. This is the first one I did on this. This is the first paint job. This is the first, everything you see was done on this one here. None of the other ones look like this one. It's actually got a couple errors that I've since addressed, and some of this is a little different than the other ones you will see. But this is the one I'm giving away. I can't sell it just because it is a one-off, and it's not quite right as to the rest of them. But I've got a ton of time in this. There's I don't know, maybe 50 to 100 hours, maybe more than that, in doing this one model here. It's all hand painted, hand tooled. It's got brass details. The antennas are brass posts, as I said. So this is probably going to be something that would retail around $300. And again, as I said, Halloween, I'm not sure what day, the week of Halloween, but I will give one of those away. That one you just saw, to a lucky person. Hopefully, if you're entering the contest, when I put it up, you're going to be interested in it. I would hate to see it go to somebody who's not interested in it. I've got a lot of time and love into that. That's the most time I will put into any one of those is the first mock-up. It's basically a maquette for the rest of them. You know, on something like that, you know, I'll make 50 of them or so. It could be a $10,000 return on my investment. It costs to make 50 of those. It costs about $260 in just product, not counting like cups and mixing and stuff. And as I said, I'm going to have a video on that. And I'll address that because I've had a lot of questions in the last 3 days. I've had people ask on, can you cast this? Can you make copies of that? And in postcards, can you copy images and stuff like that? Casting is something that I do a lot of. I do resin casting of all kinds of things. I've done some huge dioramas that light up from alien movies with just immense amount of detail in it. I'll show you some. If you're not in my Facebook group, I'll post some of the other dioramas I've done. The trilobite is technically a diorama. It's going to be in a kit. It's going to be in a box with full color. It's going to have a 4 fold-out paneled insert that's already done as well that I've typed up and has artwork on it, the whole works. It's going to be very professionally done. It's going to come in a box. It's going to have a custom insert, the whole works. When you're doing something like that, you never know what the box is going to be like until you're done with it to know the exact height and, you know, make sure they're all uniform and the whole works. I do other things on casting too. For those of you who like trains and stuff, I do HO scale buildings. This is one that I've done. And now we cast all the windows. I cast the doors here in house. This is strips of little cardboard. And then I cast, like, this is a hotel. So I'll cast one whole side and then I can make like 50 of these buildings and sell kits as well too. I hear everybody talking about private branding. I'm taking it one step up. I'm going to actually make the product. You know, there's tons of things you can do on your own to make products, to make a ton of money from your house. So for those of you who can't find things to sell, hate the clothing market, I'm going to show you a video just on doing recasts of items, how simple it is. You can do them in plaster, you can do them in resin, you can start out small, you can start out big. Every single resin thing that I've ever done, I have sold and made at least some sort of profit. Every single one. As long as you pay attention and do your research on what you are doing, you're going to make some money on that. But let me go on to some other things. Enough time on that. Again, there is going to be a video for that. The contest to win this is going to be not just a simpleton contest. Again, this is a $300 item is what I'm going to be probably putting on it. So you're going to get something that's worth some money. It's got a lot of time and love into it. But on to the next thing, Halloween cards. I have those done, as I said. I've got, you know, mock-ups. I've got the backs. I've got them shot, printed in-house. I'm not going to show those quite yet, just for copyright reasons. But they will be up, and I will be giving some of those away. And like, as I said, I'm going to have a Kickstarter coming out too. Halloween cards will be the thing that comes out next after I do the video here for the trilobite. And as I said, I'll be going into some other issues. I've got the postcard video done. I've got the button video done. And I'm going to be doing the casting video too, so you can get a good idea on how to make some money off of things that you buy to make copies and dupes and things like that. And I might even go into some of the printing aspects, so you can print your own things. You don't have to have a ton of talent to do, you know, like the resin casting like I do. There's simpleton things you can do that make money. You know, like the HO building that I show you here. There's people I know personally that just cast hundreds of these just windows with nothing else, no building, just the windows, or they'll cast doors and they'll sell them in lots on eBay. And you're talking, you know, just once you set up the windows, you can do, you know, 50 in one pour, and they'll sell 20 or 30 windows from HO scale or a window door set, or wall sets or panel sets, and they'll sell those on eBay, and they're going to make you know, at least, you know, a 300% profit on something like that, over and above the cost of buying the merchandise. And once you've done the molds and something like that, it's all gravy, like the trilobite. Once the first one's off the you know, the assembly line, all the rest pour real quickly. You know, it's a simpleton thing. I mean, it's just, this is like a base for one. You know, here's another one that's already been mocked, painted up, and attached to the wood frame. And here's, you know, just these. I've got a ton of each of these. We cast a whole bunch at a time. And I want to actually go mainstream and full service with those and market them to scientific places and even maybe schools or museums. I can't find anything like it. So that's why I waited to the last minute to show you this. I don't want any competition. We're too far along at this point. You know, copyrights are in, patent designs are in. So, you know, we're sinking a lot of money into this. So, you know, you're going to get the first shot at it. Let's go on and see if we got any questions, see who I've missed. Macaroni May, how you doing? Andrew, again, good to have you. Crazy Commute, you were on the turnpike. Last time I thought you were on the train, same basic principle. Larry's Treasures, how you doing? Let's see, Jaded Gypsy, how you doing? Rich Sanders, Thomas Gardner, Bill McCabe. Good to have you first time. Usually when I do the videos, I'll go ahead and I'll tell you a little bit in the front what's going on. And if you missed the very beginning, eBay is laying off again. So don't panic. It's just a couple hundred people. I never worry about that, restructuring or not. Take Twitter, for an example. Twitter hasn't made money in like 12 years. They just now turned a profit. That means nothing. Don't worry about that. eBay's in the top 2, have been for 20 years. Nothing's going on. Restructuring, fixing, whatever the case may be. The better Amazon does, if it hurts eBay, the better chances you have of eBay turning into the Amazon structure, which means free listings. You pay just a monthly fee, and then you have free listings and only pay a end of final value fee. And if you don't believe that possibly is the route they're going, I've now talked to several people in the UK and several people in other countries. The UK, you can pay one set fee and have unlimited as many listings as you want on eBay. So eBay is looking into that. So don't think that I'm just throwing out some wild rumor here. I heard that from somebody in eBay. You know, that they have looked into this for the U.S. market. Now, who knows where that's at, but they are doing it already in some way, shape, or form. Had I had the option to do it here, I would have done it here and paid the extra money because it would have still been cheaper than I'm paying right now for the 2 anchor stores. You know, so there is options. eBay is looking into fixing some of these issues, and they are running towards the Amazon market. Free listings. Again, it's not announced. There's nothing going on that I know of, but it is looking more and more like that is not just a rumor, that might be what's going on. So anyway, let's see what kind of questions we have here. What do I say to people, Thomas, that give me 1 or more low offers? You know, if they give me a couple lowball offers, let's say the item is $100, they give you a $10 offer, I might come back at 90. You know, and then if they come back at 12, I'm going to come back maybe at 85. If they still aren't going up more than $1 or $2, I'll just decline it. You know, nothing is going to make it or break it for me like that. You know, we sell a ton of stuff each day of the week. I never worry. When you're just starting out, you know, the pension is to take the offers and get the money coming in. That's not the best thing to do always. You know, once you're a lowball seller and you start taking offers on everything, you know, just lowball offers, you're going to have, you know, the nuts are going to come out of the woodwork, and, you know, they're just going to be trying to make offers on everything. You know, set yourself up right. Know what it's worth and don't take less than you think it should. Like if that $100 item, every one of those $100 items sold for $60 and the guy keeps offering you 10 or 15, just pass it up. If you've got track records, you know, comps of that same item, you know, in 60, 70, 80% of those all sold for $60, just hold out for it. You know, don't let the buyer get something cheap. For all you know, he's going to give you $10 for it and then turn around and relist the same thing on eBay and list it for $60. So, you know, I don't let somebody do that. I'm polite. I'm nice. I just say, sorry, I can't go that low, and let it go with that. And I always put a note in if I decline them too. Don't just decline and put in, sorry, that's, you know, the 60 offer was the lowest I could go. If you're interested in the later on in the future, you're welcome to, you know, place the offer again, and I would accept it. Something along that line, just something quick and simple. Macaroni May, it's not going to be a toy, the trilobite. It's literally going to be for like a display, you know, like a museum piece. I'm actually going to go down to the museum here in town. The Toledo Art Museum is, you know, they used to be in like the top 10 of the country, believe it or not, at one point. They have a gift shop down there. If I can get in there, I can get in anyone in the country, I guarantee it. Those are the kind of places you want, like discovery places. That's why I'm going the whole route of patent, trademark, and a Kickstarter on it. This is a first for me. I didn't know if I could do it, honestly. I never knew what it would come out, how it would look, how the paint job would be or anything. You know, this is the best one I've ever done. I'm impressed with it myself, not because I did it, just because, you know, I always worry that my stuff's not going to look right or it's going to be screwy. But, you know, this I'm really, really surprised. You know, everything's been going really good for us lately. And, you know, I thought this would be the hitch and, you know, I'd be sinking a lot of money and just blowing it out the window. But, you know, it's not. This is something that you can do in other aspects of it. You can make molds of, you know, like snail shells, or do dioramas of mushrooms, or all kinds of stuff. Believe it or not, you know, mushroom figures and statuary sells. I've got some that I've done and sold. I sell vintage, you know, lucite mushrooms. There's a ton of things you can make your own stuff of, and you don't have to have a lot of talent to do all of them. All you have to do is find a niche that will work. I know somebody who cast bottle openers in a certain shape after he saw a Shark Tank one about bullet bottle openers, and he bought impact resistant resin and he cast it at his house. He gang molded so you can do a whole bunch at the same time, you know, and he makes a ton of money at that. It's something unique. It's something different. It's no talent he has special. I helped him with the molds, and, you know, off he went. That's it. You know, I'm going to show you how to do molds if anybody's interested on making your own stuff. No, none of the private branding where you got to buy a bunch of stuff and you don't know if it's going to work. For 100, 150 bucks, you can have a ton of stuff and have extra to do many different projects. You can do them in plaster. So if you want to try it first and start out, you know, but I'm going to show you, as I said, I've talked to now 3 or 4 different subscribers and a couple of people in my Facebook group who've brought that issue up. And I do that. So I'm going to touch on that too. But let's see what else we got here. Larry's treasures done. Did they also fire the buyers? I'm not sure what you're referring to on the buyers there. Let's see here. His first time. Are those cast in plaster? This is resin. This is literally resin. It's hard plastic. Won't break. I could throw it around. Nothing's going to happen to it. The rest of it's wood, plastic flowers, and then brass. I try to do it with the best quality stuff. But again, as I said, if you watch in the next couple days, you're going to see a video on me actually showing you how to do stuff like this. It's honestly so much easier than I thought. We have a vacuum tank and all that. You don't even need all that kind of stuff to it. Just need basic, you know, tools around the house. I use old containers. But again, I'm going to show you some detailed on casting and things like that. You can do plaster. You can do resin. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can do at the house where you can make money just doing, you know, repetitive things. The goal on eBay is to get something that you can keep selling constantly. Get one listing. The same thing with FBA and Amazon and whatever the case may be. Get one listing that you can sell like one of something every single day. And once that starts going, get another item and another item and another item. You know, our goal is to get, you know, 10, 15 resin figures that sell a couple a month every single month, a couple more postcards every, you know, holiday from now on. We're going to do at least 3 postcards. I've got 3 designs for postcards for Halloween coming out. And again, I'm going to give some of those away too. It's going to be more than just a couple. I'll give a couple away here. I'll give you some chances once they're out, you know, if you want, and we'll go from there too. Let's go back to the questions here. Gtor, yeah, Sotheby's is pretty good. If they give you an email answer back, usually it means it's worth over $1,000. If they're telling you that you should sell it locally, that means it's worth less than $1,000, whatever it is. Sotheby's rule of thumb is it has to be worth $1,000 for them to mess with it. I've dealt with them many times, many times, and that is the rule of thumb. So if you get it back, you at least know you don't have some huge, horrendous item. It's worth less than $1,000. If you want to post a picture of what you have, Gtor, in my Facebook group, I can, you know, give you a little hint or some ideas. I used to display in art galleries, so I do know a lot of people. You know, I used to win shows and things like that, and do Tri-County shows. I did the Festival of the Masters at Disney. So, you know, I know about the art industry. I know some people, and I know some people I could send images to if I need to. So just, you can pop one up there for me if you want in my Facebook group. Thanks, Larry. I hope it works too. If something like this, the trilobite doesn't work, I'm not out a ton of money, a couple $100 and a bunch of time. I would do it even if I didn't make money because I like doing it. I enjoy doing that. So, I already have, some good ways to sell it without any trouble. And I can always sell it as a kit for, not much money. So I'll be doubling my money on the products and I won't have to paint it if I want to do it as a kit. Generally, you don't want to do a kit until you've sold a bunch of them and recouped a bunch of your money. That way people can't knock you off, because what they'll do is they'll take this and then cast their own, and then I have to seek legal action against them. That's why I say on stuff like this, garage kits, for the most part, this would be called a garage kit if it's just like, not junk wise, but, done at the house and you're like doing like Frankenstein or something. Those are garage kits. This is above and beyond a garage kit, I would say, a couple steps up. But garage kits, you can only do so many of them. But this one here, I can produce tens of thousands of these if I want. That's why I say I'm going to a Kickstarter and hope to get enough to actually have injection molds made. That way I can do them like Funkos, rubber wise, and produce them in several different kinds and do it as like a pet thing. So like a pet rock. But anyway, let's go back over to the questions. Let's see here. I have addressed this before. Let's see. Are there a lot of reproduction postcards on the market? Richard Johnson. There are some. For the most part, no, there's not many flooded on there. And you can always tell, or almost always, by what the backs and the construction paper-wise of the card. There are some from Australia, which is where I see most of them coming from. Why, I don't know, but they're usually like railroad depots, Native American images, things along that line that they repro. Usually you can tell if they're on eBay, they're supposed to tell you. If not, you can send it back and, they could be in violation, fraudulent issues. I almost never run into any kind of repro on postcards. You might see vintage postcards from the 50s that are of images from like the 1910 era. Now that would still be a legit postcard. They do, like newspapers will do reshots of vintage postcards, and I'll see those occasionally. You'll see them for like major city newspapers do those, and they're technically not from the 1910 era. There might be 1920s, 1930s, but they're like a historical society reshoot. They did them here in this town here. They did them in all the towns around here. I've seen them for Chicago. I've seen them from New York. I've seen them from St. Petersburg, many California cities. So they're not necessarily reproductions. They're just later pressings of a similar image. I sold a postcard from California. I think it's in one of my haul videos, from a mission, and it was of an 1898 or 1890 image that they reshot for a postcard in 1905. So that's the only kind of reproductions I see, and those still sell. That postcard in question sold for over 30. So just gives you an idea. Thanks, Ron SH. Hi, Annie. Yeah, Annie, I've done it for fun. We do it for our kids. My son metal casts. He'll cast stuff in brass and actual sterling silver, coins and stuff, not reproductions. He makes his own stuff. It's totally from scratch stuff. And to doing that, you need to do resin castings to make, your dummy of it after you sculpt it out of clay. All these were sculpted out of polymer clay, not polymer, plasticine. I use plasticine. I don't want to dig for one now, but I use plasticine for these. It's the same thing WED made it up. Walter Elias Disney Studios made up the plasticine that I used for the maquettes for animation, for the animation studio. Now, I've been aware of this. I worked at Disney. I worked and did some work in the animation department with somebody named Fran Kirsten, and you can look her name up. She's fairly well known. Her name's in a ton of films. I worked under her for a while doing mural work and stuff. Fran Kirsten was head of ink and paint for Walt Disney Studios, and I worked with stuff under her. She supplied all the paint with the color codes for all the characters for every Disney thing that I did. I did Snow White paintings and things like that you can still see to this day in the behind-the-scenes tour of the Magic Kingdom. They actually plexiglassed. It's been there for, now like 25 years. My paintings have covered the walls of Disney's Magic Kingdom. In Small World, I did some painting, and I did some painting on Peter Pan's flight and things like that. But anyway, let's go back on here. Do I work with eBay, Rod? I have no affiliation with eBay. All I have is a couple anchor stores in my store. I have no contact or anything to do exchange-wise other than business, just like you would do. I'm very friendly on the phone, though, when I talk to eBay, and it always seems to give me some information, an insight, or something that I didn't know that would help me out. So I never, ever yell or get frustrated on the phone with eBay. It's a cost of doing business. And eBay, I say this all the time, my best day working for somebody else is still worse than doing eBay. You know, that's just the way it is. I hate working for other people these days. Once you've had a taste of this, what we do, it's a no-brainer. I'll do anything I can. And art-wise, again, your goal on eBay is to get items that you can religiously get constantly and turn over all the time, you know, and just keep one listing up or put one listing on Amazon and it sells all the time. So I'm going beyond private branding. Private branding is very risky. I can show you some avenues in private branding that do work, but I'm just going to make my own products. And these are stuff that I like. You can take them to Comic Cons, Dragon Con, sci-fi conventions. You can put them on sci-fi shows. The trilobites I can put on, you know, history channels. I can advertise them in magazines. It's something that will be a broadly seen over many areas. I'm going to really bomb it here once I've got the boxed item in hand. All I'm waiting on is the insert to make sure that this isn't damaged in there. You got to play around a lot once it gets there. So as I said, once you get your first one off the shelf, box ready to go, it's a piece of cake. You've got a template for everything from that point on. I make molds. Everything has a mold. You know, I'll show you molds tomorrow or you know, this week here. You'll see how it's done. I'll explain it all. I'll give you whatever I can information to show you what you can do on your own with this as well too. Okay. So, but we're going to go over that in just a few more days. Andrew, casting for props for stores. Photo wise, Andrew, it depends what the photos are. Obviously, if you're doing resin casting on your own, you do know it's not that hard. People sell props. You know, Halloween's a big time for resin casters. I have a friend who did a Trooper Clerks. Type in Trooper Clerks if you want to see something really cool. My friend did it. They actually won an award from Lucasfilms for the fan film of the year. Trooper, just like, you know, Trooper, Stormtroopers, and then Clerks, just like the movie Clerks. It's 2 words, Trooper Clerks. Type that in. It's a little thing. It's a takeoff they did. They built the sets. They built the costumes. He cast those costumes. There's a ton of market for this stuff. You know, I've got some friends. I've got some insider info. I worked for Disney. I've got a friend who works for Fox. You can do the same kind of thing as this. You can do prop casting for Halloween. You can do one-offs of guns. You can do all kinds of stuff. Fake swords, fake guns. It's something that you can do hundreds of these things and sell them for Halloween. You know, that's why I say Halloween is one of the best times if you're going to make stuff. Halloween is the best holiday in my book for the kind of stuff that I like. So if you want to make some good money, Halloween items always sell. You know, horror items, sci-fi items. Just watch out for the legality of copying someone else's work. But your own originals sell all the time. Watch Tested. Adam Savage's Tested if you haven't seen it. Look into, you know, Monster Palooza. Monster Palooza has gotten big. If you didn't know that Dragon Con has turned into a huge, humongous thing, Comic Con in California went mainstream. And I mean mainstream. Everybody who is anybody is at Comic Con nowadays. And it used to be nothing when we first started getting into this. So, you know, sci-fi, action heroes, superheroes, all that stuff is hot. You know, comic books, we sell a ton of comic books. I sell a ton of superhero stuff, toys, all that stuff sells. You know, Halloween is the bomb for me. I love Halloween. We deck ourselves up. We dress up as a family all the time, and we do a lot of stuff like that. So anyway. Sam Dallas, yes, we do sell. You know, we do Amazon, Etsy, the whole works, Discogs. There's specific sci-fi sites. There's goth sites you can sell on. Even down to tattoo design sites you can do artwork on. You know, and you know, you can do shirt designs on Amazon, and, you know, the whole works like that. You know, so there's a lot of avenues that you can do stuff with your own artwork. Etsy is just the beginning of it. You know, stuff sells on eBay a lot too. eBay is probably the #1 for models, resin kits, and, you know, your own artwork postcards. That's just my personal opinion. We average now like 3 of our postcards a week minimum of my designed postcards. Every single week now we're selling, and it's probably going to increase a few more as we get up to Halloween. We'll probably doing 5 or 6 a week, maybe even one a day towards Halloween. So, I've made $800 off of one of my postcard designs already, just one design. That's not counting that we've made $400 or $500 off of dozens of other postcards. So if you have any talent, you have the open opportunity to challenge the big wigs and the big corporations and do it yourself and post to an open market like eBay, Amazon, Etsy, and the whole works. So let's see, flipping and dipping, how you doing? What auctions do I mean? Antique auctions. There's local live auctions everywhere. I mean, there's one in this town like 5 days a week. And some days, like Saturdays and Sundays, there's 2 and 3 on the same day. So it's a matter of which one are you going to. You can get vintage paper items at, estate sales, garage sales. Church sales are really good, especially for sheet music. If you want to score on some sheet music, go to the church sales the first day of the church sale right in the morning and ask them about sheet music. Almost every church sale I have ever been to has a ton of sheet music. And I've bought, 150 pounds worth of sheet music at a church sale before, for like $25. They were happy to see it gone because the thing weighs a ton. Hang on, I just lost chat here. Hopefully that gives you some ideas, flipping and dipping. Jacqueline, good to know. Yeah, Heritage, I do work with Heritage too, Annie. They're pretty good. You can go and send them to a couple. If you get 2 from 2 different auction houses, Skinner, Heritage, or Sotheby's, or any of those other ones, I would take that as gold. They know what they're doing. If it's worth $1,000 or more, they're going to take it because they want the money. So, it'll just go in a group auction and may not auction off for 6 or 7 months. But I don't care if I have to wait on stuff like that. That's not a big ordeal with me at all. No, Ron, I'm not sure what the SH means, but I can guess maybe. Liz, for a day, how you doing? I'm glad. Thank you for that. Susan Martins. Disney, if it's an 8x10, it's not a lobby card. That's a still or just an 8x10 advertising photo. Lobby cards are all 11 by 14. If it's not 11 by 14, it's technically not a lobby card. It's a still or, something along that line. Lobby cards came in sets and like usually with an envelope or something the set came in. Disney 8x10s do sell full color ones. I've got a ton of them as well. I've got a box with like 400 movie related and TV related stills right now sitting there ready to list. So they do sell. You're not going to get in trouble for selling something like that. I sell them all the time, especially the publicity stuff like that. As long as it has the disclaimer on the bottom and they're not fakes or reproductions, you're safe to sell them. Some Disney items you can't, but for the most part, Disney's pretty safe. Let's see here. Richard Sanders. $10 for 350 of them. You've made a good score there. Pretty much anything for that many sheet musics are good. I'd start looking them up, the military ones. If they're difference in size, you want the large format would be the first ones I would look up. Usually pre-1910-ish. They'll be bigger than the standard newer ones. Look for the nice artwork on them. Rock and roll from the 60s and 70s always sells. Elvis, 50s will sell. Even 90s sheet music sells. Soundgarden. I just sold Black Hole Sun again. I've had 3 or 4 of those. That one's one of the most popular ones. Nirvana sheet music sells. Sheet music books sell. The whole works. Jazz always sells. There's a ton on eBay any given day of the week. There might be 100,000 pieces of sheet music on eBay at any day of the week. Maybe it's even more than that. I'm not really sure how many are up any day. Ron SH. That's your prerogative. It's legal in most progressive areas. Michigan, it's legal, which is just over the border. Ohio passed it. So if that's your thing, that's your thing. Let's go down. Liz for a day has a question here. Love to know your thoughts on how well a railroad magazine is selling. Would you like to look together? Depends on what you're talking about, railroad magazines. Now, if you're talking about like modern railroad, like the modeling railroad magazines, they don't sell very high unless they're like 1930s or 40s. If it's like Southern Railroad or something like that, it's an employee magazine. That's a different story. Anything from a trade union or like a transportation company, if it's like an inside employee only magazine, those always sell. And always, I sell the Bell, telephone companies, everything. You know, any of that stuff inside that's made just for the employees. Even to Disney wise, Disney has Eyes and Ears. It's the newsletter for the Magic Kingdom, you know, Disney World Resort. I sold those even. I used to pick them up by stacks when we worked there just to turn around and resell them for $5 a piece. You could take them to the flea markets in Disney when we worked there and turn around and get $3 or $4 each for them in cash if you wanted to do $5, $10 on eBay at the time. I've got a ton of inside eBay or Disney stuff from working there for. We worked at Disney for 10 years, so let's see here. Yeah, Liz for a day. Let's see here, 60s to 2000. You'd lump those together. You're not going to get much out of the railroad magazines, I can tell you right now. Let's see here. Yeah, lump those together. Let's see, where am I at? I don't know on your side, but I keep losing chat here, and it just popped back up again. Antique obituaries. Some of them there are. I've got a couple up right now from like the 1860s. Those will sell. If it's just a piece of paper, like a bookmark, chances are it's not worth a lot of money at all. You might need to lump a bunch together and list them that way, you know, for like 10 of them for like, you know, 1850 or something along that line. The vintage ones do sell though, but they're more like along the lines of a trade card. You can look in my store. I've got some you know, death notices in there now, but they're really fancy. It looks like mortuary figures, you know, ceramic hand cut figures and stuff. It's really interesting looking cards. Those are the ones you want. You want physical cards, embossed, you know, and well printed, you know, multicolored printed cards. Those are the ones that you want if you want obituaries, or if you want something like line World War II death cards, like German ones or something like line. Those sell too. But that's really about the most I see selling. Or if it's somebody famous, obviously, anything famous wise pre-1910 will sell for you too. I've sold some, you know, for like famous people. Like Grant, General Grant, you know, Ulysses S. Grant's funeral card. Those go for a lot of money. I've seen them and I've had one once in my life. Let's see here. Harper's can sell. You can cut them up, but just watch out on what they are. I always cut them at the seam if you're going to do it. I have cutting mats that are huge. I've got 3 or 4 different sizes of cutting mats. I think I've shown some in my tools of the trade video. I X-Acto knife everything apart. Or if it's small enough, I've got industrial, I've got an 18-inch paper cutter, I've got a 12-inch paper cutter, and then I've got little mini ones depending on what it is. Don't use scissors on it. Cut it straight. Get yourself a straight ruler and cut them straight the first time. Those would be print ads. And the ones you want the most out of something like the Harper's are quack medicine. Anything talking about medicine. And look carefully on them, because some are going to say cocaine or marijuana or opium in the listing for that item. Yeah, we've lost chat again. So those are the ones you really want. I sell anything that says cocaine in it, anything that says marijuana in it, anything that says opioids, opium, opioidic, anything along that line sells under quack medicine. I still list those same things in the Victorian trade card section, even if it's a print ad, because the graphics are almost identical to the trade cards, and trade card collectors buy those as well. Now, I have a separate section in my personal Anchor store for trade cards versus Victorian print ads. So I do have it so you can search them separately, but I get them into my store first for them to do that secondary narrowing down to the trade or the print ads specifically. Let's see here. Sheet music, Rich, that can go either way. When the boys come home, I've had that one before. It probably has a bunch of soldiers marching down a street. There's probably 3 versions of that, if it's the same one. Let's see, did you say how much you put on it? That's probably, you know, a $18.50 list price of what I'd put on it. You're probably thinking about $10, $15, I would say you'd get for something like that. You can put it in World War I section. Mostly I put sheet music unless it's Disney in just the sheet music section. Military wise, I'll sometimes put in like World War I, World War II if it's something patriotic. So yeah, you're safe enough to do it that way. It's a toss of a coin whether it's going to sell better in sheet music versus, military. Disney though always sells better in the Disney section. And Christmas sheet music almost always sells better in the holiday section if it has nice cover artwork on it, like Santa or something. Halloween, same thing. The Halloween sheet music, like the witch sheet music or Itsy Bitsy Spider or anything like that, sells better in the Halloween section. This is from experience. I've sold it in many different sections. Like in books, I don't always list military books in the book section. I list them in home, home front items even sometimes instead of any book section. You want to shine from the area you put it in. If you're the only one listing books in a specific section, you're going to show out over the other folks who aren't doing that. It doesn't work for everything, so you're going to have to play around. I've spent, years figuring out which categories and which items you can list in which categories. And it's very helpful that way. So, you're going to have to play around. I can't give you every advice for everything. And some of it's, depends on your keywords and, your search keywords you're throwing into the title too, on which category would be the best to list it in. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. Let's see here. Hang on, I just Jaded Gypsy. Yeah, cocaine one, I would cut that out if it's in that. And those usually you're going to do better on Harper's if they're post Civil War, cutting them up usually. But check them out first. Do a quick comp search on those specific issues and see what they're going for. If not, chop those puppies up. I don't care if it's a perfect mint condition magazine. If I can get 10 times as much money by chopping it into little pieces, that's what I'm going to do. I have no problem with that. This is a business, and whatever you have to do to process inventory is what you do. I buy ripped up magazines all the time. I've got a huge stack of American Medical Association magazines from like 1910 with a lot of quack stuff in it, just loaded, hundreds of and a huge stack of just ripped up ones, no covers. I don't care about that. This is just for quack print ads. Is all I care about for stuff like that. Well, let's see here. I would never mess with any of the auctions on TV. Just FYI, Ron. Thanks, Richard. I guess I missed something. You're talking about framing the sheet music. You're not gonna come out ahead if you're talking about framing sheet music. If you sell to somebody, they're going to frame it. No one's going to want to add in the extra cost of shipping glass and everything to a $10, $15 sheet music. I never sell them that way. Hang on just a second here. Yeah, Annie, doctor's offices. I sell every single dentist one that says Novocaine or anything like that to 2 different dentists. They buy everything that says dentist. If it says teeth extract or anything like that, he'll buy every one I put up, and I put those up in groups just for that reason here. So yeah, doctors collect that. I see it all the time. A lot of the stuff, the paper stuff, I sell to museums. I sell to paper collectors at colleges, Loyola or Leota. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but the university. I've sold to Harvard. I've sold to a lot of the major Berkeley. There's people that buy from us. A lot of the paper items go to places like that, doctors and higher end people that don't care that they're spending 40, 50 bucks for a little piece of paper because they want it for their wall. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, go ahead and that, which one I'm talking about. Just kill it off there. Facebook auction, Susan Martin's. I don't mess with Facebook at all like that. From what I see, they sell for less. It's just not worth the hassle at all in my book, so I'm not going to mess with that at all. There's so many other options that we have. I don't need to be messing with another one. We've got 7 venues we sell in right now. And then we do other things now. We've started to branch out. I'm going to put a Patreon together, not just for YouTube, but in general for some of the artwork and things that we're doing too. That's more my goal, is to produce our own stuff. I'm always going to do eBay, so I'm never going to give up this because I love the antiques and the collectibles. So, we'll be running several lines of business, and just means we'll have to hire more people at some point here. So, You know, it'd be nice to have a bunch of people working for us beyond what we have now. So anyway, you know, I'm not looking to do any more Facebook or any of the other sites. And usually they're just a fly by night, and they're not going to take off, you know, like Bonanza and stuff. Bonanza was a waste of time. You know, I know some people make some money on there, but it's just not worth any time for me to reinvest. That's I dropped Poshmark for the same reason, just because it's just not worth all the extra stuff for a sale here, sale there. It would take just too much time. And I'm making a ton of money. Why? There's a point when you don't want to spread out anymore, because you're dominating and you're bombing the market you're at now, which is what we're doing now. So, you know, we're just going for our own products on the same sites that we're doing right now. What works? Why would I change what works? Everything's working for us. It's going up. We have an increase. I don't know if everybody else is having it, but we've had almost every day has been way up, way up, way up, way up, way up. And, you know, and I don't know, it's throwing off my numbers even, because we're up higher than I would have anticipated. You know, again, but we're doing something different. I'm listing a ton of stuff. So who knows? Do I deal with racial items? I don't deal with the mostly hate stuff. Anything that says hate, I will never touch anything from the KKK. It's just not my thing. I don't. It's an awful subject matter. Let's just say there are some things I do sell, some military items that might, you know, German wise and things like that. Nothing hate. Sheet music, I do sell some of the racial sheet musics, and trade cards. You will see those. There's just no way around it. You're going to buy them. You're going to see them in bulk. You're going to see postcards. I don't sell any of the bad postcards. I won't sell any of the lynchings. I won't sell any of that kind of stuff. Sheet music, and trade cards. That's about all that I do with anything that may be semi-racial. That's what they call Black Americana. Right, wrong, good or bad. That's not how I think. So, and I would never do anything like that personally. So, you know, is it good or bad to sell? You're going to have to judge that on your own. I can't tell you what to do on that. It's going to have to be on your own moral standings. There's many things that I won't touch, just because of that. But there's, you know, things, smoking related items that I won't touch. You know, I don't touch certain guns and certain things like that. In fact, I don't really mess with guns hardly at all anymore. I will show you a few collectible items here, though, in some videos coming up soon. I'm going to have a couple military ones put together here soon. One of my sons will probably be there with me in the video, and we'll discuss some items that you can find locally, some good bolos, and some good bolos you should be able to find right this minute. So that'll be in a future video here too, though. Ron is gone, so don't worry about Ron. He's taking up too much of our time, and it's just obviously killing us on this. So I do have Ian here again tonight as usual. So let's see here. Yeah, he's just flooding us with junk today. Oh yeah, I guess I'm way off now. Land deeds and warranty deeds do sell, especially colonial ones sell the best. If you've got any land deeds prior to like Civil War, be very careful when you sell them, because sometimes the signatures on there, like governors and secretary of states and things like that. So you want to look up those signatures. They all sell. The earlier, the better. You want, you know, 19th century land deeds or older usually, and you want ones with tax stamps on them. Those sell the best by far. And you can find those, you know, at stamp shows even sometimes. They go really cheap, or auctions, estate sales. Yeah, lives for a day. They do go, or can go, for crazy prices. And that's why, because some of the signatures on there are horrendously good. Yeah, Jaded Gypsy, I cut those up. You know, the cocaine ones always sell the ass. I've just, one of the things I always look for: cocaine, marijuana, and opioids. You know, and like racial items. You know, people can say the same thing about selling cocaine or marijuana related items. If you sell vintage Coke bottles, you might run into one that had cocaine in it at some point. So, you know, it's in the modern era. It's in market. You know, marijuana is legal in a lot of places now. Our state passed it, so you know it's all open territory to sell the collectibles, as far as I am concerned. I'm not harming anybody. I don't mean any racial or any negativity with the drug related paraphernalia, but it's all quack medicine. So. Yeah, we have quite a few employees. There's 8 of us totally doing this. Roderick Horton. Let's see here. Welcome to Comfortable Life. I'm not sure what you're talking about, the Roderick, about protections. Do I sell war items? Yes, I do sell war items. Buttons, uniforms, canteens, gas masks, bayonets. Pretty much anything's game and military wise. Just because it was worn by a German soldier or Italian soldier, or whatever the case may be, the people fighting the war, wearing those uniforms, were just doing what they were told. Most of them were lonely privates or, PFCs or something. It's all collectible. It doesn't mean you worship Hitler or you have anything to do with it, or that, Mussolini is great or anything like that. Military and war items have always been collected. Right after the Civil War battlefields, people picked it up. Bannermen sold reproduction or knockoffs of the originals for decades. I mean, into the 40s from the Civil War even. So, it's a highly prized collectible market. There's military shows here like every other month. There's gun shows that sell military too. We do sell a lot of military. It's usually a high dollar, quick turnaround for most military items that are able to be sold on eBay. A lot of Nazi items you can't sell, so just keep that in mind. Magaroni May, you can sell stuff without the swastika. You can safely sell a Nazi canteen. You can sell postage stamps with Hitler on them. You can sell covers, first day covers, correspondence, failed posts, which are military mail from military outposts. You can sell postcards, coins, a lot of documents, and you can sell ID cards and uniforms. You can sell as well. You can sell a lot of the badges as long as you can't see the swastika on it. You cannot legally sell them to anybody in Germany, and if you buy them from Germany from somebody who actually has the swastika on it, the person who sold it to you could go for jail because of hate crimes in Germany. So there are laws like that. So, and I think like in Georgia, you can't sell or possess Native American artifacts without having proof that it's related to you, and you can't send them into that state without violating the law. So there's some rules on things like that too, not just that type of material, but there is some things like that. Peddling Profits, how you doing? I'm still not sure. We're here missing a couple. Hang on just a second. I keep losing my chat. Okay. But with the Nazi stuff, as I said, you can sell a lot of it. So, and if you type it in, you can see a ton of it up. Don't put the word Nazi in there if it's something that you're questioning. As I said, stamps will sell, covers, postcards, things like that. And you will see American cards with Hitler on them. In Japanese and Mussolini and things like that on them too. And they'll be derogatory, of course, but you're going to run into that. Just you can't use any of the derogatory words, and I'm not going to say any of them today. There's Japanese derogatory words just as well as there are Italian and German. So, and just like you can't put the word Indian in a lot of your listings anymore, you have to use Native American nowadays. They've even made it worse and worse as it goes by. Completely understand. My wife has Choctaw blood in her family. We've been to the Green Corn Festival. We've been to a couple powwows. So I completely understand. I'm not a big fan of the Redskin in general, the football team, just because of the name. I don't want to get anything started with that. That's just personal preference. What they do is what they do. I don't follow sports personally, so it doesn't matter to me. But just keep that in mind. There's some things that can get you in trouble on eBay if you put titles up that are bad like that. So that's just another aspect on it too there. So just keep that in mind. And I think I had a couple other notes here. Let's see here. Yeah, again, casting videos here, as I said, we're coming up. Tomorrow I'll be on the lookout for the video. I'm probably not going to do another critique for a little while because I've got a ton of videos lined up right this very second. I think I've got 7, which parts of them are already shot. And other stuff added in there too. If anybody has any ideas on things that they would like to do, you're welcome to put some comments down below once this video goes up. Don't put them in the chat here because it'd be me going through the entire chat to figure out what they were again. So if you've got any comments or ideas on things that you would like, I do go through and check the analyticals on YouTube to see what was popular, to know what everybody seems to like the most, and do them by watch count and totals and things. So I do pay attention to that as well. There might be a chance too for next week that I may not be a Wednesday live show. I'll tell you as time gets a little closer. It may be switched to Thursday just for next week if I do have to do that. I've got a lot of things going on, as I said. I've had a lot of other plans to put different videos out ahead of time. I wanted to have the trilobite out ahead of time. I wanted to have the postcard videos up as well too prior to now. But things have been going fairly well, and we've been opened up to a couple new markets for these type of items. So I want to have, you know, some protection of my images and, you know, some copyright issues put in before I openly show them. So like, again, the trilobite, if you missed it in the beginning, this is the finished trilobite that I did. This is a resin kit that's going to be sold openly. I can produce tens of thousands of these if need be. It's going to be a Kickstarter. And again, this is the very first one off the shelf. This one is actually going to be a treat for Halloween week. You're going to have a chance to win this. And again, this is, you know, 100 hours or more of my work and time and casting. There's $20 worth of hand tooled wood. I actually did every inch of this. You know, I've cut the wood out. This is from a big paint or strip of oak. You know, it's a hand cast resin, hand painted foliage, hand cut brass, antennas, post. The figure was cast in several pieces and you know, put together, filled, painted, primed. You know, I almost hate to give it away, honestly, and you know, but it's going to be given away. I'm going to send one to Tested. I've already got a reply back from Tested with the address to send it to, so we'll see what happens. I'm going full steam. Either we're going to make it or break it, just like I do with everything else. And again, if you've got the talent to do even basic stuff, you've got the abilities to do stuff casting at your home. And again, be on the lookout. I'm going to have a casting video up. There's just so many opportunities. You know, I could almost just cast every day and do, you know, make money doing that. A lot more time involved into it to get it started, but you know, we are going to go into that too. Let's see here. Wiggins the cat. Well, welcome. Rich Sanders. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can buy, parts and junk too. So, you know, bolos are all over the place. A lot of people are talking clothing bolos. You're not going to hear a clothing bolo from me. Maybe one of the hats, which, you know, I did a video on some of the snapback hats, but there's just so many videos out there. I haven't even posted it yet, just because there's so many other items that I'm more into. I you know, get excited about so many different items. I love the antiques, and that's what I like. So I'm going to talk more about what I like and what makes more money for us than anything else. I'm trying to cut out all the clickbaits and all that kind of stuff. If you see something in a title of mine, chances are that's just what it is, like the video for the $50,000 Babe Ruth real picture postcard. Now, I look at Forbes a lot. Forbes posts a lot of eBay information. Forbes posts a lot of Amazon stuff. There's a ton of real picture postcards that show up in Forbes. You know, $100,000 is not the cheapest or the highest price real picture postcard ever sold. I'm not going to tell you what it is. If somebody can find it, I'll send you a postcard. There is a couple that sold for more than $100,000 real picture postcards, and they are not what you think they are, but they're real picture postcards of something. But if somebody can supply a link to it, I will send you a free postcard, one of my postcards, if you're interested. But there are over $100,000 cards that have sold openly on the market in the last 10 years. So just FYI. Let's see here. Yeah, Annie, you know, obviously some of what I do, I want to advertise my items. What I do, I am into what I do. I am not just doing this trying to get you to pay for services from me or subscribe to a plan on how to do something. I'm not sitting here trying to show you, you know, how to earn money and stuff by making your own, you know, how-to program. You know, I'm not into that. I'm not going to sell you on a service. I'm not going to sell you on my quick get-rich schemes or anything like that, like you see on the other ones. I'm not a big person on that. You know, a lot of the ones I see, you know, the drop shippers and all, there's 15, 20 drop shippers doing that now, trying to get you to pay money to them to learn their course And, 7, 8, 900 people are not going to be able to do what the one person is doing. I'm telling you now, it's a quick get rich scheme. It's a pyramid scheme. You're not going to make a ton of money. Yeah, there are people that make good money on dropship. I have done drop shipping. You can make some money, but for me, it's not worth all the other hassles and the possibility of having your payment accounts locked. Now, I've heard that so many times. That's the number one thing I've heard from people doing drop shipping is out of nowhere, after they've done it for a little while, their account will be locked because of the amount of money going in and out of the account. It looks more like a money laundering issue to a bank. So, I don't do it. I'm not going to tie anything to any of my main accounts that we do with drop shipping, other than a couple items here or there. Maybe a quick turnaround on something, but I'm not a big drop shipper. I'm not going to sit here and sell you a service. If I'm going to sell you something or offer you something, it's something that you would want to buy. I've got a book coming out. I'm going to post a couple pages in my Facebook group. It's a true life story. And I've got some stuff like that we're going to be posting too. So, I've got books on the way, not about eBay. These are just actual novel style books. We've got some kids books, as you see, models, toys. I want to do some Funko style stuff and stuff like that. So, eBay is going to be my life forever. We're always going to do eBay, but I want to supplement my income in case something goes down the wire. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Have another source for stuff. Branch out enough till you have enough. Don't put all your business on eBay. That's just a given these days. And I'm not saying eBay is going down, but I wouldn't do that with any site. I wouldn't do that with Amazon. I wouldn't do that with any. Look at Papa John's. They took a huge dive because of an awful person running the company. So it doesn't take much for somebody to take a dive. And Amazon stock took a little dive on Prime when the site crashed. So, there's good and bad with everything you do. So anyway. Let's see here. Veranda Files. Hello. Larry's Treasures. Yeah, hit the like button if you would. I don't say that enough because I'm more interested in getting the content out. I hate to say it, but maybe I don't promote the site enough. With stuff, I could be boosting some of my posts and things, but I'm not really up on doing that as much. I like getting the content out, and if you haven't figured it out, I really like what I talk about, and I really like talking about this stuff. I'm not making a dime off of YouTube, just to let you know. Eventually, hopefully, they'll approve us. At some point. It's been 6 weeks now since we hit the mark, and it's still under review. I'm never going to make it rich on YouTube, and I'm not trying to. I will promote my artwork and stuff because I like what I do. I like it, and I like talking about it. But that's about the most you'll see. I'm not going to charge you to do a critique like many of the other ones do. There's no $50 fee. There's no $80 fee. If I do something, I'm just going to do it. I'm not a con man. I'm not here pyramiding. I'm not here trying to get your money for something. I would love you to support me if my Patreon's up there and stuff like that. But I want you to do it because you're getting something out of it. I know there's a lot of people who are telling me they're selling stuff because of recommendations and stuff they would have never done. So I know it's helping you guys. And I'm not asking for anything in return at this point from you, but, just pass the word around, what I've got here. I've got almost 200 videos up right now. In every video, I've talked about the same. Obviously, some of the quality in the first few videos aren't as good as they are now, lighting issues and things along that line. But the content is what I'm worried about. So maybe I don't pay enough attention to telling you to hit the like or spread the word. But I love what I do and I love what I talk about. So that's my main key goal here is when I'm talking about this stuff. This is my life. This is all I do. This is it. I sell, resell. We make some of our own products and we sell anywhere that, these sites that we've been on and anywhere else we can think of that's practical and easy to get into, like Facebook, auctions. I'm just not interested in messing with more of that. I'm going to tie more of my listings from eBay into Facebook. But at this point, once we turned our personal page into promoting YouTube, most of our friends don't follow us other than, the ones that we chat back and forth because they don't like to see all the posts up there. And that doesn't bother me because literally at this point, my whole life, 100% is on reselling. I'm, I guess, one of the few people who makes a ton of money reselling as opposed to telling you I resell for you to pay me money to show you how I do it. My money comes from reselling, not from you paying me money for services that you're rendering or joining my private group for extra money. I don't make money doing that. I'm not looking to make money doing that. I'm looking to give you the information. You know, a lot of people aren't going to take it, aren't going to listen to me. So, you know, that's your prerogative, however you want to do it. But, you know, you either like how I talk about stuff or you don't. And, you know, it doesn't offend me if you don't like me. It's business for me. You know, I've been called, you know, so many names in the book. I don't really worry about that. You know, windows bashed out, and I've been threatened with guns and stuff in restaurants and stores. So, you know, not much phases me anymore these days, honestly. You know, it's just the way it is. Let's see. I got still more time. We're gonna go to about 20 after today. I have to cut it off about 20. So we got about 15 more minutes that I'm gonna ask some more, have some more questions here. Let's see where we are. Yeah, I'm peddling profits. I don't clickbait. The one listing, the last auction, or the last video I had the other day about the $50,000 confirmed sale, that's a real sale. That's not clickbait. That's just trying to show you, that you folks out there who know that postcards now are worth a ton of money. You know, there's more money than you could ever imagine in postcards. You know, there's people that just do postcards, that have, you know, 100,000 postcards up, you know, and that's all they do, you know. And it is possible to just do postcards for your living, and that's it. You know, I had somebody ask you to do I go to the postcard shows? If you want to make money, don't go to a postcard show unless you're setting up to sell. Most of them pick through. You can find stuff in their 50-cent or dollar bins sometimes, but for the most part, don't go to a postcard show or a paper show specifically. Most of those people have looked it up, and they're people like me. I look up my stuff. You know, you're not going to get something. If I put something out on a table for sale, I've looked it up. You know, so that's another reason. If you're going to these auctions, local live auctions, check this stuff out. You can preview the auction, preview the items, and look up a couple items on your phone right there while you're looking at the preview. You know, make sure that they haven't been already sold. Some of the auctions around here, you can look up items that they photograph, and it's items that they've already tried to sell. They couldn't sell, so they take them to the local auctions, hoping somebody who doesn't know enough to look them up will buy them, and they'll make their money profits off of that. I sell stuff that way too. That's a legitimate way. You're not making any kind of statement on what the items are. You're just giving them to an auction to sell. The auction's responsible for everything else. That's not wrong. That's not bad. That's just business. So anyway. Hang on, I'm getting behind again. Yeah, we're way behind now. So if I missed some questions here, I'm sorry. I'm like 2 pages off, it looks like. Let's see here. What is a good source for ordering postcard and photo mailers? Don't order any photo mailers. Don't order any postcards. Look at my how-to video. I get my boxes from Walmart. I get a 14 by 14 cube box. It's the... I don't have time. Ian, can you grab one of the, let's see. Well, I don't know if you'll be able to grab it. It's nope, over there. It's underneath those. Never mind. It would take too long. I've got them on a shelf here. Look at one of my videos here on how to pack. They're 14 cube boxes. I cut them down into 4 panels, and then those panels... lighting issue here, sorry. I cut them down into 4 panels, and then those pieces are cut down. For each 14 cube box at Walmart, I get 14 mailing cardboards for 14 postcards or 14 pieces of paper. I'm sorry, that's 16 pieces. You get 4 per side of cardboard. So there's 16 postcards you can mail for 72 cents. I buy poly bags, the 2 mil poly bags off of eBay. I've got another video coming out on everything that I use. Everything. You'll get to see all the poly bags. I'll show you sourcing. I'll show you how to get the cheapest ones. I'll show you the cheapest mill you can get that are still good to use. I'm going to show you the cardboard. I'll show you the cameras that I use. I'll show you the lighting that I use. I'll show you the specialty stands that I have too. It's coming up real soon here. Within the next week, you'll have a video on every single thing I use, and as well a video on how I video or how I shoot my cards, how I shoot other items for photographing for eBay, how to quickly do them. I'm going to spread this all out for you in a couple videos. Anything that I am going to be talking about that I'm promoting and that I use, I'm going to show a link down there. Yes, I am a part of the Amazon and eBay affiliate group now. But the items that I am going to show you, I honest to God use every single day. I'm only going to show you items that I actually use. And I'm going to tell you why I use them and compare them to other items like cameras. I use D5300, and I use that for everything, and I mean everything. Videos for everything. I'm not using it on this because you've got to do a bunch of other stuff. I finally got my OSB to work. I figured out what I was doing, so I might go high D on the DSLR too. But everything I'm going to show you, honest to God, are things that I use. I'm going to show you them in use, and I'm going to show you where to get them the cheapest way. And I am cheap, I promise you. I will not post anything just to get myself money on a commission. I'm only going to post stuff that I personally use. You know, I swear to you, that's everything that I use that you will see. And again, I'm going to break it all down, start to finish, on, you know, how we list. I'll probably even, you know, do you some time listing so you can see just how quick you can list an item, you know, if you've got yourself set up straight. So paper is a snap. If you're not doing paper and you're not able to list 30 minimum items in paper right off the bat in an hour, you know, something's wrong with you. You know, Ian or Jordan or Tim, any of the people working for us can list, you know, a good 30 items in an hour. That's 2 minutes per listing. Now, and that's with 3 photos per average listing, and that's with adjusting and altering the photos and cropping. 2 minutes is about the average for any one of the paper listings. If it has 3 photos, it's 2 minutes with no description. All you're doing is a title, the price, and a condition statement, and that's really about it. 2 minutes is what it usually takes you to do one. When you're flying through, you're not changing categories, you're doing all the same category. And again, as I said, I'm going to show you and break down everything that I use. You know, I'll explain it all. I'll have links to it all. And I'm going to tell you why I use it. And I'm going to show you, I've got 4 or 5 old cameras that we've had. I've tried them all. I don't use any phones or anything like that. My phone has a nice camera, you know, it's megapixel and the whole works. It's a new Android. But DSLR are the best, you know, and the Nikon D5300 is the bomb when it comes to cameras. It's the lowest costing high-end camera you can get by far. Everything's interchangeable, and I've looked into the cameras and stuff, but I'll go into that in a different video. Let's go back to the questions here. I'm getting off track here. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Let me go back up and try not to miss anybody here. Let me see here. Sorry, folks. I'm like way behind on questions this time. Vintage Girl, Modern World. I started off selling clothing on eBay, clothing and books, but I learned really quick that clothing dies and you have to do rotation of merchandise for the time of year. After FBA raised the fees, we got out of books. We were tired of the returns. We sold clothing on Amazon as well too, but the return rate was horrendous. Between the return rate, FBA, and the clothing not liking selling clothing, clothing's just a rat race in my book. I've always collected some form of antiques, and we just kind of swayed into that. After we realized that paper sells horrendously well, and I have 0 returns for this entire year as of right now. 0. I had one person try to return something, but he didn't return the whole item. eBay sided with me, and I sent the item back to him on his dime, and he kept it, and he cannot leave feedback because I offer 30-day return shipping. That is part of the bonus for doing that. So just an FYI. The stuff that I sell, the antiques, have almost no return rate, easy to sell, quick to list, and they sell so much better with a higher profit than most any clothing or book that I can get. Now, don't get me wrong, there's good money to be made in clothing. It's so much harder to scale clothing because of the space. I don't want to do a warehouse. I do not want to do that. I do not want to rent separate space. I do not want to double my expenses monthly. That would just be killing on my overhead. I might as well just open a brick and mortar store if I'm going to have another building. And brick and mortar is dead as far as I'm concerned. Let's see here. I'm just trying to catch up again. Sorry. Do I use listing software? No, I do not. I've looked into InkFrog. Another I would say he's a friend now, Mike, a gentleman I've talked to. He's been a subscriber since like I had 50 people or less. And I talked to him in my Facebook group. We chat, you know, live chat quite often. We had talked about that, and InkFrog and some of the other ones. I would never pay the fees that I looked into. Some of the services to do what I would want them to do are like $3,000 a month for the amount of listings I have. I'm actually writing a VB program now that myself, I've taken programming. I'm going to do some PHP and some scripting tied into the Visual Basics, and I'm actually going to do a program that ties into SQL to do my own program for cross promoting. I looked into it. I might be something I'll even sell, but again, I'm not trying to market you that. That's just something I came up. If somebody could come out with a $9.99 a month cross promoting software package, no more than $9.99 a month, they're going to make a fortune because they'll blow everybody else out of the water here. So I don't mind, coding or doing something on my own. A lot of that's, pre-coded, and you can just cut and paste coding and just add in some separating script and things like that. So anyway, no, I don't use software. I will write my own, but I won't use software. Jada Gypsy, I do not pay for promoted listings. I know a lot of people do the 1% and try to do it that way. I don't see much difference. I just use markdowns and mark down my own stuff and do a markdown sales with the promoted push out email for the items on sale. And I usually hit the ones that have more than a couple watchers. And those are the only ones I usually mark down. Most every item I have up, I've researched, so the prices are fairly good. So I don't really need to do it. And it's residual income for us. I don't care if something sits for a year or two. Sell-through rate means nothing. I say this all the time. It means nothing. If you're doing 7+ a day in sales, who cares? Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody again. Crafty Turtle, thank you. Thanks, Jada Gypsy. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, David. I honestly like what I do, and I honestly love this. I worked as a regional. I ran an $11 million plus region in Washington, Virginia, and Maryland. I worked 70, 80-hour weeks. I hated it. I hated every aspect of it other than my boss was awesome. I still talk to him. We're friends. I've known him for 20+ years. He's offered me jobs many times. I would never go into foods or retail or anything ever again. So I have a high passion for what I do. This has saved my family. Even when I worked for somebody else, we always had eBay on the side for weekends. And anytime we needed money, we always were able to come through because of eBay. We made a fortune on stock. We paid off our cars from eBay, from selling, from buying eBay stock and flipping. eBay has been there for me since the year eBay started. eBay has always been there for me. Always, always. And I hand to God, that's the truth. eBay has saved us more times than I could ever care to count, in so many ways, in so many forms. And I am living, I wouldn't say it's a dream, but, it's getting there. It's really close at this point. Things just keep going. They roll in on a regular basis. I'm going up the ladder on its own. I mean, it's in almost auto drive at this point here because we've got everything has a set way we do it. Everything is done the same. Every listing, every photo, sells similar. Whatever we do is done the same. And when you see the videos come out on what we're doing and what I use, they're straightforward. That's just what I do. No BS aside. I give you a lot of information a lot of people don't care to give out. It's a big world here. I'm gearing towards, my own things as well too. So at some point, only half my business might be, eBay and Amazon, and hopefully the other half, still be selling on eBay, my personal items and Amazon, but it'll be stuff that I can, just sit there and change the quantity and just have somebody make me some more stuff in my own products. So, I'm not going to mess with private branding. We've done it. You can lose your socks in it. More people have lost in private branding than anything else. So all those videos telling you private branding, did they really make money on private branding, or are they just selling you a service to tell you how to do private branding? I'm not going to tell you how to do something unless I'm making money on it. And if I'm quoting something or telling you a price or telling you something on the stuff, I do this. I don't just sit here and act like I do it or have a couple thousand listings on here. We've got over 40,000 listings. You can see 21,000 right now in just one of my stores. So, it's no make-believe fantasy show here. This is the real deal. I know what I'm doing. I've done it for a while, and I take it from an aspect of a regional manager running $11 million business. So, maybe I'm up on more things and talk about different things than other people do, but I've got the inside corporate America business mentality aspect of doing eBay, which most people don't. They never had to handle a region. They never had to handle, 1,000 employees in their region. They never had to handle, millions of dollars of the stuff. They have no clue on some of that, so, not criticizing anybody. Everybody has their own experience level. I watch a lot of other YouTubers that have a lot of great content too. So, no criticizing, but just watch out for the charlatans who just want you to pay them for a service as opposed to them actually showing you something practical. Amazon, is there, eBay's there, YouTube is there as well too, but I use YouTube more for my artwork, I guess. I want to expand my market here. Yeah, of course. And I've had subscribers recently buying a lot of stuff from me too. So I thank the subscribers. I had a subscriber buy over $200 from me the other day. So, I'm always thankful for the people that are out there, and that might be part of why my sales have gone up this month. I don't know, but our sales are I don't know what to say about the sales. They're way, way up. Even the mailman the other day was like, wow, I'm really surprised. Even with the amount of stuff we're putting up, 100 plus new items a day, it's still, I honestly don't know what to say about the sales. They're through the roof now. I don't care what's going on with eBay itself. I'm fine, and things have been going fine and dandy. So hopefully everybody else is having, similar experiences. If you're not, you need to switch up your items, because I can tell you what I sell is selling regardless of anything else. And, this isn't some fantasy world here. I show you, high-end stuff or better-end stuff all the time. That's just junk that most people would just throw in the trash, but that's not the case with what we do. Super Sunshine Thrifter, thank you. Polis Czech, UK is watching. Well, good to hear. Good to hear. I've got friends in the UK. We used to work at Disney. We used to have a lot of UK friends. One place I wouldn't mind going to someday, but Japan's on the top of my list too. Can you remind me? Modern Marquee is the name. Let's see here. Poll books. Are you talking about election polls, Macaroni May? Let's see here. The Comfortable Life. The R56 it could be a release year. It depends on what kind of comic it is. If it's like a comic book, that's probably a release year, or it's just like their file number, so they know where to find it. Just like I put numbers on stuff. The numbers on the bottoms of cards are usually file series number. You'll see series A, series 2, series Z, all kinds of numbers on postcards. It's just a file number. It means nothing. Nothing value-wise, anyway. None that I've ever seen. Just got a few more minutes here. Thanks, folks. Nancy, good to hear. $100. I'm telling you, postcards. Most of you folks probably never mess with postcards, but here's a perfect example. And if you go to my Facebook page, there's people who've sold hundreds of dollars of items just from stuff that I'm telling you that's worth money. I'm not feeding you a line. This stuff's worth good money. Clothing is a rat race. The sooner you get away from that, the happier you're going to be, at least from my standpoint. I'm so much happier. The wife hated the clothing. She likes doing what we do now. She loves the cards. We've actually started saving some of the cards ourselves. So she's got a little folder of them and stuff like that too. Neat artwork. Again, this is part of why I'm into doing postcards of my own artwork, because I've sold so many neat postcards. There's so many items that you can do. I've sold the models. I've sold toys that look like this. Not like this, but similar style stuff, dinosaurs and stuff, Mark's dinosaurs and stuff, and they all sell. Pick something that sells, and that's what we're going after. There's a big market. It's a level playing field online. You can challenge the big corporations just as much as anybody else as a single individual person. You've got just as much opportunity. Shark Tank's a good show if you take some time to watch Shark Tank. Some of them are set up, but overall it's a decent show. Dragon's Den's way better, but most people can't get Dragon's Den over here. Your UK folks, you'll know Dragon's Den. I watched that from the day it came on, before Shark Tank ever existed. Let's see here. We're going to cut it off in just a second here, but I got just a couple more minutes and we'll do a couple more questions. Vance Bell, we've talked about this before. For a slide or a photo, it's not safe at all until that person who took the photo has been dead for 70 years and 1 day. That's the copyright law. That is the official legal law on stuff. There is a date you can go by that the federal government determines that no one would be alive that would have taken that photo. And I don't have it off the top of my head. It changes every day, obviously. So, but I'm sure you can type that in on a Google search and find it. I don't have Google open here. Otherwise, I'd give it to you real quick. But be careful on that. Usually 1910 items, you're very safe. And same with even music, because I do sell, ripped tracks from vintage dead stock records that no one has the copyright onto anymore. There's not a lot of them, but there are some, as long as you know what you're doing. So I do have, some digital software and stuff that I do mess with as well too. So anyway. How do I ship glass plate negatives? They're going to be wrapped up like a 78 record. Watch one of the 78 record videos. It's going to go in a box with a lot of cushioning. When you pack stuff that's fragile, you don't want to stuff in a lot of cushioning. You want it to be able to give a couple inches in there. I'm going to be doing another video on it. I've already got it scheduled. I've already shot part of it, actually, covering how to make custom boxes for pretty much anything. So there's going to be some more packing videos coming up, because I get a lot of questions on packing. I've sent, God, you'd be shocked at some of the stuff I sent through, big, huge picture frames without any cushioning. You can send stuff without padding and cushioning if you pack it right. Now I'll show you how to do that. Real easy ways. There's many easy ways. This just takes a little bit of time to do it. I've sent anything. I don't worry about stuff. I do worry about stuff over the size limit. I don't want to have to pay the extra $10 for oversized items, or have to send it UPS, because it's a nuisance to take it down, and I don't want to pay the extra fee for UPS. I'm going to have to cut it off here, folks. I hate to do that. I see I still have a whole bunch of questions, unfortunately. Here's one real quick question here, only because I just saw it. How would I cope with irregular income each month? I don't have irregular income. We average 750 a day right this minute. It's actually more than that now, these last couple of weeks. So that's our average every day. I don't worry if I have a slow day here, a slow day there. There is no discrepancies. The only thing that happens is, as winter comes on, we get more and more sales in. So I don't have the irregular income. You can pretty much base how much you have coming in off of my projections. I always know what I'm going to do. If you don't know anything about projections, I have videos on projections as well too. I project out. I know what's going on months from now. I know how much money I should have based on 5 years of overall sales. I keep track for 5 years, so I can tell where I should be and where I'm going. And you can tell as the day goes by if you're going to make those totals. And if you're not, you increase items or put something on sale to keep your items up to that sale price. So that $750 a day, you have to work on to get to that. And once you get it, you got to keep doing stuff to keep getting that same amount of money coming in, whether it's sales, whether it's running an auction, whether you're changing your prices, or whatever the case may be. You go back and research prices when stuff doesn't sell when you think it should, because maybe the bunch hit the market before, since you've looked it up. Like, let's say I looked up something today, I put it up for $100. 2 weeks from now, somebody put up 7 of them. They sold them for $50 a piece. I need to drop my price. So there's a lot of things you can do. But I hate to cut you short, but I'm at the drop-off point here. So again, I appreciate everybody. Please hit the like button down below. Again, I've got plenty more good videos coming out. I'm going to give you some real good stuff here. And I'm going to give you some ideas on those people who like to do Etsy and want to do their own products. I'm going to show you how to do some of that here as well, too. It's an open field for anybody. Expand your mind, expand your market, and you're going to make more money. So again, Don, the Auction Professor, have a good evening.